And welcome back to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Mike McNuggets, G. Bush, Jason Lloyd. Let's talk a little Cavs, guys. With less than 15 games remaining in the regular season, Kenny Atkinson and company are trying to finalize their playoff rotations. Kenny said last year, I'd love to play 10, Jason, but most likely going to play 9. If you play 9, that means you trust 8. If you play 8, you trust 7, so on and so forth down the line. But for the sake of this, let's build a 9-man playoff rotation for the Cavaliers. We know at least the core 4, so we don't have to discuss those. Yep. Who are the other 5 players in your mind, Jason? We'll start with you. That would be in a playoff rotation for the Cavaliers if the regular season ended today.
Or are we going to do a group assignment? You just want to do this together and put one out?
Sure.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously, Max Strus.
So Max is number 5. We're all in agreement. Yep. He is in there. Kenny's already proven in his small time back, he trusts him more than he trusts the other wings. He's already been in closing lineups in 2 of those 3 games.
Yep.
The organization likes him as well. Like, when they went out and signed him.
That was a big signing.
Didn't you say it was the biggest free agency signing money-wise they've ever made besides LeBron?
I'd have to go back and look, but that sounds about right. Like it was very rare at the time for Cleveland to target one of the top free. He was one of the top free agents on the market, and to get them to come here, that was a really big deal, and it was a big money. I think it probably was.
It was 4 for 64, 16 a year.
I think that probably was the biggest free agent ever come here outside of LeBron in terms of dollars.
Yeah.
So that's 5. So we have the core 4 plus Strus at 5. Who would you pencil in at number 6?
I think Keon Ellis has a spot because I think he's the best perimeter defender, and if he's making threes, I'm not saying he's number.
He's not 6 in line,
right?
Yeah.
But that's a name that to me is on here.
Yeah, he's a versatile defender, and he's been hitting shots lately, which Kenny has talked about. Hey, okay, he's knocking down shots. If he can continue to knock down shots, he's a guy that is definitely on the bus.
You think he's definite, or you think he's on the bubble?
I think he's hit or miss. Yeah. So I'm going to pivot because that's going to make this all make sense. Do you think Dean Wade's a lock?
No.
Because if Dean Wade's not a lock, then I think Keon is.
Yeah.
And I don't think Dean Wade's a lock. But if Dean Wade's not a lock, you're going into this knowing you don't have a traditional backup big.
Yeah, I said during the YouTube show, I would still start Dean because of what he can give you defensively and rebounding. But if he's not hitting shots, and with Dean, you tend to know right away. You're going to know quickly if it's there or not. If he's not, with this team, if you're not making shots, you cannot be on the floor.
Yeah, I think Dean is borderline. I think Kenny has a little bit of a track record with him. And Dean has a track record in the playoff. If he's making shots, they'll play him. But I would say, kind of, sort of, not really.
So let me give you my 9 real quick, because then we'll argue back and forth. You have the 4 starters. You have Strus.
Yeah.
Sam.
Yep.
I think Sam's going to be in it.
He's got to make shots, but if he's making shots, he's on the floor.
Yeah.
Jaylen.
Yes.
Keon.
Yes.
And then that's where the Dean, Thomas Bryant, are you going with a big, or do you opt for another guard like Dennis Shruder?
Well, when you're talking about the 9th guy, I think that's when it becomes matchup dependent.
Yes.
Who are you playing? What are they running out there? Who's in foul trouble? Who's hurt? So there's a lot that goes into it. But I think we're probably pretty close to alignment on the top 8.
Yeah.
And then the 9th guy, I have a hard time. I don't think Thomas Bryant is in the rotation, but if you're playing –
You may need another big, though.
Yeah.
They just don't have a lot of options.
And if he can get streaky from 3, he can knock down a 3-point. I think it's whoever is giving them the hustle points, the intangible stuff, the loose balls, and whoever between those two hitting the shots. The thing look a couple of weeks ago when they got him, I would have said Dennis Shruder.
He was the guy I was going to bring up.
But turnovers, there's been some things getting into the offense. I don't know, given what he's done the last 2 weeks, I think it's between him and Sam Merrill a little bit. And Sam, at least they respect the shot. You've got to space the floor with Sam.
I think Sam is above Dennis. I've said for a couple of weeks, I don't think Shruder is in this rotation. I don't know that he gives them anything that they can't find elsewhere. And I think he can be too much of a liability sometimes with the shot selection. So I think Schroeder's on the outside looking in, but that doesn't mean he's not going to play. I'll go back to the finals run, the championship run. Dante Jones, a guy who came out of nowhere, was a late pickup in the season and made 2 or 3 impact plays that swung a finals game. So there's always going to be pockets and moments for guys like Thomas Bryant or Schroeder or whoever.
And those two fall into the exact same category. And I said this as soon as they acquired Dennis. I was on the radio with Earl this past weekend, said this about Thomas Bryant. They can win you a playoff game in a 4-minute stretch. They can lose you a playoff game in a 4-minute stretch. Thomas Bryant, the beauty of Thomas Bryant, it doesn't matter if it's Game 7 of the NBA Finals or the third game of the regular season. TB is playing exactly how TB plays.
Gas.
Yeah,
If you leave him open, there is not a second in his mind that says, maybe this isn't a great shot. Same thing with Shruder.
Kenny was mic'd up. He said, hey, Thomas, shoot that. Yeah, when you get that, they rotate it, shoot that. Like, he has no conscience.
And
like,
he'll go in a playoff game, he can go 3 for 4 from 3 in a stretch and swing the momentum of a game.
We saw him do it against
the Cavs last year.
I was like, who's this guy?
He's also just as likely to go 0 for 4 and have us come in the next day and say, why in the world did Kenny Atkinson not pull Thomas Bryant earlier? Schroeder's the same way. Shruder, with his defensive intensity, his ball pressure, can force a couple steals in the backcourt, lead to some easy buckets, make a few floaters. He played in the game, I believe it was Detroit, in the overtime game they lost, where he had like 25 points.
Yeah.
It was the game Jared Allen fouled out late in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
He had 25 points, I think 7 assists, 6 assists, but 8 turnovers.
Yeah.
And some of those turnovers late were back-breaking turnovers that you simply can't have. The one thing that Shruder has going for him is outside of Donovan and outside of James Harden, all those other wings we just mentioned, Strus, Keon, Sam, Jaylen, Dean, if you want to throw them in there, they can handle the ball. They're not ball handlers. There's a difference. There's a difference. And there are levels to this.
Right.
James and Don are up here. Dennis is here. Jaylen Tyson is here. Sam, Merrill, Keon, and Dean Wade, not necessarily in that order, are down there. Against Indiana, game 2 last year, Jason, what was the thing that the Cleveland Cavaliers could not do?
Get the ball over half court.
Do you know who can get the ball over half court?
Shooter.
Dennis Schroeder. So there are times and matchups, I do believe, that Schroeder and Thomas Bryant have specific roles. But in the big picture for making a giant, let's make a playoff rotation, I just don't know how they're over some of the other guys right now.
Yeah, there's a couple of. I think it's a consensus. We got most of the same guys. I think that last guy is matchup dependent. If one of them gets hot, we go back to the 16. Mo Williams hit a couple big threes, but he wasn't even in the rotation. JR hit some threes. So against really, I would rather have, the thing about Shooter is going for him is, he don't have a conscience.
He ain't scared.
And he's not scared, and he will be scrappy. He's not going back down. And you need that grit in certain series.
Would you rather have the optionality that the Cavs have right now in different guys they can plug in place, or would you rather have a defined set, unquestioned, this is their top 8, end of story?
No, I think it's better to have flexibility with it, because if you have a top 8, that means your other 7 aren't very good. So, and then what happens if there's a hamstring, or a guy turns an ankle, or you got foul trouble, now you have to dip into. And the 18 Cavs team had that, where there was a line of demarcation where these were the core guys who were here from championship era before, who they relied heavily on, and then there was a big gap with everybody else, so the Rodney Hoods and the Jordan Clarksons and the guys who were brought in here
George Hill
to play a role, and they just couldn't do that. So I think it's much better to have flexibility and to have a lot in your toolbox to where you can go depending on what a game dictates.
And veteran, Strus ain't going to be scared. He done played there before. Schroeder, Bryant, those guys have been there. The only guy you kind of worry about is Jaylen Tyson a little bit, but he's a guy that's going to bring it.
He's yet to show that he's afraid of a moment.
Yeah, he ain't backing down. He ain't even back down from LeBron.
He said, I want to guard Luka. He said, I want to guard Bron. I want to guard their best player. His exact quote was, I fear no man. If you fear no man, you fear no moment. He's not a guy that I'm worried about kind of shrinking in the playoffs. It's more about getting him back to the Jaylen Tyson we saw last night. He was really good against the Bulls last night before he suffered a toe injury in the fourth quarter. And hopefully it's just a minor, landed weird, iffy thing. Jaylen said it was too painful to come back in. So hopefully a speedy recovery for Jaylen Tyson as the Cavs get ready for their playoff push.